So I'm going away. I'm leaving Friday.
Woo! Yeah. Good.
You happy that I'm leaving?
No, I'm happy for you.
Okay.
No, we
Thanks.
like you here.
Okay.
All
All right.
That's good for you.
So there's a couple things I want to talk about in my absence. Obviously, it's managing some of my listing stuff that hang on one second.
No, they need to hang on 1 second.
No, you have to hold on 1 second.
Okay. Obviously.
All right, so I have a couple of things that need to be handled. So I have an account in Midwood. There's 2 buildings that are like 10 minutes apart from each other by car, probably like a $7, $8 Uber if you're not driving. And the owner just agreed to pay an OP on all but 1 listing. So there's like 4 listings amongst the 2 buildings. So I need somebody, and if it's not one of you, that's okay. I need somebody that's going to do an open house at both of them on Sunday for like an hour each. I know it's deep. I know it's fucking Brooklyn. I know it doesn't always.
I'm gonna probably be in Ditmas Park on Sunday again, so I can like try to work around that, like do like 11 or 12. Or
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be there, I don't. There's
like
no.
34, that's okay.
I don't care what time it is. Last time I did an open house there, it was 6:30 to 7:30 at night.
Okay.
So it doesn't make a difference to me what time. But if that's the case, then I'll arrange with you.
Yeah. And then if my buyer doesn't want to come out, I'll just go preview some open houses and just get more.
That works.
Already.
That works. 24th Street. I'm going to handle 24th Street by myself because 1, there's only 2 apartments left at this point. Like it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And there's only 4 3-bedrooms coming up until the end of May. So like there's not a lot going on there where I need somebody else. But obviously I need somebody to handle that while I'm gone. So I currently have a 5-bed, 2.5 bath there. So, I mean, who wants to? So,
yeah, we'll rock, paper, scissors.
I mean, however you want to handle it, I don't care.
Curlies today, you know. Okay.
I love you, Sarah.
Jesus.
We'll hang on at 5 bed.
Listen, I just need to know who wants to do it. That's really what the story is.
Let's seriously rock, paper, scissors.
Go ahead.
You all 3 do it at the same time.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Are you ready? Well.
How do we do this though? There's 3 people.
I don't know how you rock, paper, scissors with 3 people.
So,
Rock, paper,
watch
scissors,
this.
rock.
Ready? And it's not say shoot. It's just shoot. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So now Christina's out. For example.
Okay.
That was trial and test.
Okay, I'm okay with that being a trial.
Right, but what if Christina was a rock and you were paper?
Right. So I eat
Then who?
Christina.
And then Brian eats you. But then Christina beats Brian. So that only works when 2 of you do the same thing.
It's possible elimination.
Yeah, we just have to get the 2 people.
Okay. All right. So
if it's a cancel out like that, then
Yeah.
we just go again.
all right. Figure it out.
Okay, so shoot, not say shoot. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Christina just ate both of us.
So Christina.
Damn, that was easy. Shit.
Christina.
You gonna be in Brooklyn and Midwood and stuff,
I don't have to be anything.
and in the middle of the woods and stuff. Good. Okay.
So at some point, I want to take you over there and show you the apartment today. Elizabeth Street. I probably don't need anybody, but I want to have somebody as a backup in case something happens with Scott. All right, Brian. And
I've been down to those apartments before. Down there.
yeah, so this is like Scott's gonna take care of it. I already spoke to him, but like if he gets sick or God forbid something happens with his wife or he has to, whatever it may be. So that's fine. Right now, I think we only have a 3-bedroom there. We have 2 ones currently, but I think we have an app on one, and I think we're getting an app on the other one. The Roosevelt. I don't believe I'm going to need anybody at the Roosevelt, at least at this point, because I just got an app approved, and I got another one that's submitted that should be approvable. So that'll put me with. What's that?
That's so weird. My podcast app just started playing, right?
Oh.
Big Brother.
So I don't think I'm going to need anything there, but I will circle back. I may need one of you to do a lease signing for me, but that's the extent of it. What else do I have going on? So I have a ton of shit going on, like in the 7-8 figure sales arena, with buildings, because a lot of like the relationship building that I've been doing is now tying back to other things. So one thing that's done well for me is, and you guys can do this how it fits all of you, is so I have a search set in Taxi that pulls up any apartment building, land, so anything that would be typically commercial, but obviously isn't listed by a commercial broker, it's listed by a residential broker. Because a lot of times those things do not get fully sent out to the whole brokerage community, the whole developer community. So for example, I know you two know about this. There's a building that just was listed on Chambers Street, 162 Chambers. It's 15 and a half, and I saw it come in as part of that search, sent it out to a bunch of developers like, hey, have you seen this? And now Thursday I'm taking somebody there to go look at it, and you know, fingers crossed, who knows. But the point being is you got to look for shit in different places that just doesn't exist. Like, and in some cases that may be Trulia. It might be Zillow. It might be Craigslist. It, you know, second and what you would consider third tier databases tend to have a lot of information. And part of the reason I believe like Craigslist works is because we know that Craigslist is pretty much dead, but that's because we're in this business. You know, so Craigslist was the main platform 8, 9, 10 years ago, right? So if you have somebody that's not a real estate professional that bought 12 years ago, you know, they may still be on Craigslist. And there's a lot of opportunity around being able to find shit that other people can't find. So what I would say is when you start getting developers, when you start getting like higher level investors, right, I would set up searches so you're always aware of what new shit comes on the market. Because I think it's a huge opportunity to identify value that nobody else is identifying.
I feel like Craigslist and for sale by owner would be great in Astoria.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some of that because there's still a lot of mom and pops that own an Astoria, and Astoria is, although it's significantly gentrified, it's still very, yeah, it is still very old school in a lot of ways. Additionally, and this maybe ties to you now that I'm thinking about it, and I think I've mentioned this to all you. So I am a member of MLS, which is the Queens, Long Island, a little bit of Brooklyn. No, not Westchester.
Yes, it's
No, it's not Westchester. Westchester is a separate system.
works in Yonkers.
It's not like there's a separate MLS for that. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
It's under a different umbrella.
Okay.
The two organizations are supposed to be merging at some point in the near future, but they're not. It's like a separate beast. So in some cases, maybe there's like, you know, if you have somebody, there's searches I can run in there, because I've actually identified 6 families that I was out with last week with a buyer that, you know, we'll see. I'm supposed to actually be getting offers soon on. It should be any moment, actually. So it just goes back to that looking in different places shit, especially in a market that's got a lot of inventory, that people are spending a ton of time on Street Easy and like thinking they see the whole market. It's having that in that nobody else has to be able to, spin it as what you're doing. The other thing that I would strongly recommend is continuing to connect with like-minded people. Like whatever that is to who you are. Like I'm not going to go meet with like meditation people that'll go to 9-day retreats because that's just not me, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, but that would be perfect for Brian, Like and it's figuring out the shit that you like that you can then talk to somebody and build a relationship with has nothing to do with real estate. And I mean, a lot of what I do is doing it through social. And not to have more followers, but ultimately to connect and then to bring them out of social. So like set up meetings, let's meet for this, let's meet for coffee, let's just, let's grab a drink, because you never know. And as a byproduct, I'm getting DMs almost daily now of like random people asking me, have you seen this? And it hasn't led to anything yet. It absolutely will. I know there's no question about that. But it ties back to once again, I mean, as a broker, social is a different arena that most people aren't playing to start with. So I really am big on that right now. I think it's incredibly important. I would also focus on, especially since all of you are on social, I would focus on using stories to tell your story. And if you are on Snap as well, I would do the exact same thing on Snap that you do on Instagram stories. And the reason being is while you may personally use both services, a lot of people predominantly use one. So like when people go to social on their phone, they're usually going to one service and then maybe a secondary one, right? So you want to be playing where everybody is paying attention. Well, and if somebody's paying attention on Facebook but not paying attention on Instagram, you don't want to miss them because you're only on Facebook. So it's got to be pertinent to like the network. Like some of the stuff that I do that's a little more racy, I might not put on LinkedIn, just as a byproduct of LinkedIn being more professional. But I'd have no problem putting it on Facebook, targeting some rapper or followers of some rapper because I know that'll work. The other thing that I would strongly suggest is spend a little bit of time on YouTube learning about targeting, running ads targeted at who you want to target. It's so cheap, it's insane. Like what you can do and how you can connect, and it's only going to get more expensive. Like I can tell you now, for like what I'm spending, if I'm spending like $5,000 a month now, that same $5,000 in 2 years will be 15. So just run it up, now if you can. If you can't, figure out where the best place to spend money is.
Targeted ads?
Yeah, you want to learn how to target. So here, I'll show you. See if I can get this up. That's really it for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, that's really it right now. I mean, I got a lot of other things going on, but nothing incredibly pressing. I will not be here tomorrow as well. I got PC Richards coming to fix my fridge and dishwasher, hopefully, if it doesn't snow too much. Does anybody know what time it's supposed to start snowing?
In the overnight.
Overnight?
In the night, yeah.
Okay.
So it's 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. Thursday. But that's
Maybe I'll take a work from snow day, work from home day.
work from snow day.
Work from snow day, work from home day.
Work from snow. You can work from the snow. That actually would be fun.
Snow angels.
You could take a table, put it outside, and be like, today I'm working from the snow.
Yeah, if I was anybody else, that would work. Today I went to hot yoga and I bundled up. Like I'm always cold.
Today was cold.
And I barely sweat.
When I walked like to the office from the car, I was like, fuck. All right. I'm sorry. I've talked for like way too fucking long. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have 3 pitches this week. I already went on 2 dates with past clients. I'm really happy about that. I'm making my phone calls. Social media is popping off. I'm staying consistent, and I'm looking forward to growth.
Whoa. What?
Well, it's not my fault you weren't paying attention. We only got 10 minutes.
No. What's going on in your world?
I just said I have 3 pitches this week.
Okay.
I went on 2 dates finally with past clients.
So let's talk about that.
I'm prospecting in so many different ways now. And
No,
I'm
that's fine. Let's talk about your 2 dates.
Okay. Friday, I went out with who I rented an apartment to her and her boyfriend 2 times in the past. I got a new job, so that's great. So they might be moving soon. Who knows? But they are happy where they're at now. She is looking for a new job, and she has experience as a personal assistant. So if you need one, I'm happy to connect you guys. But anyway, we had some drinks, and she invited me to her birthday party this coming Saturday, 9:30. Then the second date was yesterday with a property manager I've known since I was at Compass. It went well. The bill was $78. Actually, when I went out with her, it was similar. And so maybe I gotta cut down a coffee. But I was kind of feeling like, how do you get people to really take? Everyone's so busy in New York. So like for me to come out with someone for a coffee, I will likely. I know myself because I'm busy. I will likely postpone and keep postponing, which I happen to do with my friends a lot. It's normal. But if someone's like, oh, let me take you out for dinner, I'm more likely to those are my 2 main concerns that make me feel a little funny. But I'm happy I'm at least starting to do it. And then prospecting, I'm prospecting in so many different ways, and it's so crazy because in year 1 and 2, I'm like, why do these managers always say prospecting? Like, what does that fucking mean? Like, I didn't understand what that meant, prospecting. Then in year 3, I'm like, okay, I know what that means. That means getting on Street Easy and Craigslist and sending out emails to everybody and just hope that they come back to you. Now in year 4, and 4.5 actually I am now, I'm realizing that there are so many crazy different ways of prospecting, and I'm like seeing the light. For example, I wish I had my to-do list in front of me. It's on my desk. I'm calling furbos. That's 1. Like, I'm not just sending emails. Like, my ass is calling you, 2. Calling furbos and lease breakers. I'm calling, for example, a buyer's list that Christina and I are working on. I'm calling everyone at Sharon's building. That's another way of prospecting. Sending out emails to these people, but like personalized email about what I can do, service, like with my services and stuff. Prospecting on social media is another way. Prospecting, calling past clients is another way, and now taking them out for coffee or whatever. Lava Map, I'm using Lava Map now to find the buildings next to like Marquez's buildings, for example. In that whole neighborhood, 1 building at a time, I'm gonna go block and lot 1 at a time on Lava Map. That's another way of prospecting and going after those owners and letting them know that I work in the area. So I'm just really happy that I already have this knowledge, and I'm just going after it. That's pretty much it. And this week's result is 3 pitches. So I think I should get.
What are you pitching?
Should get 2 listings this week.
What are you pitching?
I haven't noted on my desk. I'll show you later, but we have to really like get moving. But I'll show you. One of them is right after this. Like I have to run.
They're all rentals?
Yes.
Okay.
And you already know what happened with the lady at the Austin Sharon's building. I finally got to speak to her.
But you haven't heard back from her since then, right? Got it. Okay, Brian.
Cool. Just got a new listing at 199 Bowery, a 2-bed, 2-bath condo, 911 square feet, recently updated. We're listing it for $5,300, and they're paying a 1-month OP. So I should be getting pictures, I think Thursday. I was going to do it tomorrow, but with the snow, I wanted to do sunny. I wanted to get pictures. So I just listed it today. It's listing a little early. The tenant's not out until mid-June, but he wants to he doesn't want any vacancy. He's like freaked out about any vacancy, and with the condo board and everything, we're just listing it now. And if anything, I can just work the leads if they're not looking for a June move-in, and then get someone for mid-June. So that's the newest listing. The Astoria house. Actually, the owner just texted me, and I have to go through this. He might have someone direct that he's going to rent the apartment to for like up to 6 months with a 60-day vacate clause. So he might still list it for sale in like early summer. So I think some delays. I got to talk to him, but something happened on his end where he doesn't want to list it right now. But the report is good if it's showing it, and that should happen. other than that, that's about it business-wise right now. Just been prospecting, working on getting more listings. Yeah, that's about it right now. But the condo on Bowery should be good. 5,300 is like right. It's a good price for what it should be. The most recent comp in the building, which is more updated and had a washer and dryer unit. This one doesn't have washer and dryer unit. Rented last June for $59.95 with an OP. So I'm thinking 5,300, less
With an OP.
renovated, not quite the same layout. The second bedroom is a little smaller than the other one. 53 with an OP should get done. So that's the latest for me right now.
Guess I'm the one left. It's been a good week. I feel just this very positive shift in my thinking and my approach to things. I have just kind of rejected this extraneous noise in my head of worrying about what the wrong people think. I really only care about my nearest and dearest and who's going to directly affect me, who I respect.
Mhm.
So, you know, it takes something to want respect. So if you're not in that realm, I could not care less, and I feel like it's a kind of an enlightenment. So part of that was taking my very non-millennial self, learning how to post my first live video. So I've been trying to maintain some consistency there. I just know it's part of the process. I think I will acknowledge that, like, who cares what I just posted. I haven't posted anything so compelling or groundbreaking. It's just kind of to introduce a humanizing aspect behind.
Let me see something. Let me see your phone.
Sure.
Come here. Pull up your Instagram. Here's what you want to look at, right?
Okay.
So you come here, do this.
See who's looking at it. Yeah, I've been
Hang
doing
on,
that.
hang on, hang on. Let's go back a second. I want to see how many friends you have.
It's
800.
actually gone down since last week.
That's fine.
I'm sure I'm
It will. It will.
annoying
That's
people.
fine. No, no, you're not annoying people. You're getting rid of the weeds.
Actually, I've dropped a bunch and then gained a new one.
That's
So
fine.
you know what?
It's
Whoever
good.
cares, great. If you don't
Right.
care, don't click on it.
100%.
That's how I feel.
No,
That's
no,
how I
but-
feel. Like
but-
if you don't
but-
care, you
all
don't
right,
have to
all
click my little icon.
Right. Here's what you need to understand. This, these are good numbers.
Okay.
Typically, you'll get like 10, based off of how many friends you have. This is you're doing the right things,
Okay.
and specifically in, hang on, it doesn't like show here, but you see here how you now show up here,
Yep.
here,
Yep.
and here.
Yeah.
That's important because that's how you find different people, and it's all based off of that.
Yeah. No, I'm always doing that. Trying to do the,
So yeah, like you did it, like that's, and it doesn't always pop. Like you see here, it doesn't.
Also, just post it. Maybe there's a little time.
No,
Who
but
knows?
but the fact that you're getting this level of engagement means you're in the right place.
Okay, well, that's exciting.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's just one thing, just to get out of my comfort zone, which I've always known is the only way you can have any kind of growth whatsoever. So I'm proud of myself for that because I let go of like insecurities and I was so caught up with something being interesting or compelling enough that I didn't post. And now it's like, you know what? I have to start with baby steps of just learning how to use the tools, and then I could work on really like getting nice in content and squeezing it all into the time.
For sure.
So it's something. It's a work in progress.
Like anything.
Exactly.
Cool. Anything else?
I gotta run out of here.
All right. Good luck on your pitch. Stay here for a second. I want to talk to you. So right now we're in a yellow cab. I haven't done this in so long because trying to order a Via and an Uber just took seemingly too long. Yet we walk out of the office and there was a yellow cab right there. So we're heading to 35th and 1st right now to the American Copper Building. There is a private event we were invited to with one of the interior designers of the building, and should be cool. Let's see. Mike Schulte, Citi Habitats. Good, good. And yourself? Yeah, likewise. Okay. Right. Got it. All right. Let me reach out. How much longer is left on that lease? So it would be a new 5 and 5. Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. Let me talk to my people and I'll get back to you. Right, right. Yeah. So my client owns a couple of bars already in Queens. She had one, or was a part owner of one in the city, and is looking at something right now in LES and then other places. So like, and if it's not her, she's got, friends that she could go in with, kind of situation. So let me reach out to her and I will get back to you one way or the other. All right, bye-bye. It's nice when brokers share information with you on the strength of knowing that you're a good broker. It's something that doesn't always happen, especially if you have a landlord that doesn't want you to share things. But, at the end of the day, you got to get deals done. And there are only but, a handful of brokers that I actually truly trust. But when I do, it's like, I am a firm believer, and this may sound crazy, that if somebody wants to fuck you, they're going to fuck you. So worrying that everybody is going to, I think, is one of the worst strategies in the world. But people do.
You have reached the voicemail box.
Just one more quick thing. Is the kitchen vented? Okay, no problem. Yeah, just shoot me a message back. You don't have to call me. Thanks, bye. Thank you. Listen, the one good thing about the shit that we continually put out is now that I'm putting in an episode pitching multi-million-dollar business in Yeezys and sweatbands, like when somebody Googles me now, that shit's gonna come up. So it'll become a lot less of an issue. Plus you validate this because nobody's invested. Nobody essentially has invested in shit like this.
But I grew up staring at the Manhattan skyline from the Palisades and kind of drooling and wanting to be here. And really, when I was younger, when I turned 21, I started to fall in love with Manhattan nightlife, which is how I became interested in interior design and architecture, and really thinking about the social aspects of spaces. A little scatter map of my journey to create my company, Coach. I started 4 years ago. An architect might lay out a corridor in this fashion, but when you think about the emotion of walking through this space, I would argue that you would want to lay out the space counterintuitively, in the sense that you kind of cut the grain of travel and you kind of create your approach in a different way coming up the stairs. So just a quick little vignette of what that looks like, giving you a little bit of tunnel vision, and then actually thinking about it in a different way to kind of break up the rhythm of walking down that hallway. And this exact concept is actually, if you go and walk down the hallways of the American Copper buildings, this is where we came up with the idea of having lights cutting across the space And it's one of our core concepts of how to design interiors, and we directly implemented it to the corridors of this building. Looking at how these things are actually constructed and built, that was one of the hardest things to build on this whole project, including the bridge. And so there's the finished product that I think everybody is familiar with here. As you'll see, the front desk is kind of pushed into the back, not front and center as you walk in. Some details. So the other thing I want to mention, that when we were designing this space, materiality was hugely important to establishing the concept, in that we were trying to create this pairing, this juxtaposition between natural and man-made materials, smooth materials and rough materials, matte materials and inorganic materials. So in almost every circumstance where you see things that are rough, you'll start to see things that are man-made or smooth. And if you look even in the apartments and all over the amenity spaces, these material pairings are everywhere. And quick note, we also used Dunescape as inspiration for the bar carts at Barclays Center. So that was kind of a fun little test that we did, mini architecture. And then as we were developing the project, we looked at the neighborhood to see what was around. We looked at other residential options. We did a ton of research, and this helped us establish the amenity menu. As you know, the amenity program here is quite expansive, and part of it is actually the bridge that helps that. And there are functional reasons for the bridge, but also it allowed us to create one great grand amenity space instead of creating two smaller, less full programs. So we're really able to think out of the box, and then also use that space where you could get the 75-foot lap pool, where you couldn't typically get that in a standard floor plate. And as you know, the lower floor of the bridge is actually mostly mechanical equipment. It acts as an extension cord, believe it or not. So we're in the East Tower right now, and we're going to have a beautiful roof deck that should be opening sometime this summer or spring. Any other questions?
So you worked for Shop.
Yep.
You helped do this building. You did Bark. You've done a lot of stuff. Like, what's next?
What's next? We are branching out, and we are doing projects in Nashville and Miami right now that are mixed use. My roots are, it should be said that my roots are actually as a hospitality designer, which lend itself really nicely to doing buildings like this, where it's more lifestyle driven, where it has just a lot more life in it than what you think of as a traditional multifamily. And so the projects in Miami and Nashville are mixed use in that they're hotel, food and beverage, office space, and kind of like a club, like a private club. So we're really excited about those because it's giving us a different mix of things. And we're still doing a lot of multifamily as well. We just got a new project in Jersey City that we're doing that I'm excited about, being from Jersey, so coming home.
And how do developers or investors do some of this stuff in smaller sized buildings that don't necessarily have the scale to afford you?
You know, our services are scalable for one. The smallest building we're doing is just about 300 units. But we do have a couple buildings that we're doing for a developer in Queens. We're doing one in Long Island City and one in Bensonhurst. And they're smaller buildings, but they're kind of fun for us because they're little boutique buildings. And we're doing a lot of the same stuff. Even in the buildings where it's 300 units, we're still doing custom lighting all over the place. And I happen to love doing custom lighting. It's just sort of a weird habit I have. I was the kid that always made her dioramas light up when I was in school. So we find a way. I find a way to get the stuff that's important to us as designers, even into the small projects.
Oh, this got a fucking. When getting a ticket doesn't matter. Dum dum dum. And to think that that building, so that's the Corinthian, right? Unit-wise, that's probably about the same size as American Copper. Granted, it's a condo versus a rental building, but those round windows were like dope for whenever it was built. I think late 70s, early 80s. Let's see. I believe that's what it was. I could be wrong, but there's this amazing thing called Google.
That's probably a cool room too.
They're weird, because when you come to the window,
It's not round.
no, it is.
Oh, okay.
It is. But it's dead space, because how do you put anything on that wall?
Furniture.
Right. Let's see. 1989. I was off. Oh, it's 80s. But to think, so call that 1990 versus 2017. So you're talking 30-year difference, give or take. And that's the difference. You go from that to that. Another day in the books. I'm actually heading out to continue the show. I'm gonna leave Brandy here to finish editing the vlog. One thing I'd like from you is let me know what you think. Leave some comments below, show me some love, or tell me why you hate it. Either way, I appreciate your feedback.